Hi guys, happy Monday. I'm super excited to be here with you today. We are continuing on redefining healthcare and redefining the way that we look at healthcare. And today we are, talking about a really sensitive topic, I think, because it hits home with so many people. I think like a lot of the diseases that we have been talking about. But today we're going to be talking about arming yourself against cancer. And this is a particularly, heavy topic that, even for myself, it hits really close to home. And I've been on the side of losing someone to this disease, and I've been on the side of seeing people thrive after diagnosis, right? So, but regardless of where you're coming from when you're watching this, I want you to know that you have control over your body, right? And you have control even over your thoughts when you hear different things as well. And we're going to talk. We're going to talk about cancer today. And so I want to briefly define it, I guess, because I think there's even a lot of misconceptions around this disease. But cancer refers to a group of related diseases where some of the body's cells become abnormal, which can begin to, these cells are abnormal and they divide and they eventually enter into surrounding tissues. Okay. So I want to talk to you today about, what is cancer? What is it not? And different ways that you can think treatment and prevention. Okay. And, this can start. Cancer can start almost anywhere in the body, and the abnormal cells that would otherwise have died off survive and they multiply, and this can initiate the growth of things like tumors. So what is a tumor? A tumor is known as a neoplasm, which is a swollen mass of tissue that have been resulted in the uncontrollable growth of a cell, so cell division. So malignant, which is also known as a cancerous tumor, are classified by the type of cancer present as well as their state of development. So depending on the type of cancer, they can be either solid or fluid-filled tumors. So tumors have the ability to invade other nearby tissues, facilitate further movement of cancer cells throughout the body, and then in turn encourage the growth of new tumors, contributing obviously to a very vicious cycle of tumor growth. Non-cancerous tumors, or these are known as benign tumors, they do not spread into surrounding tissues and usually do not cause further issues once they're removed. So that's the difference between benign and malignant. So obviously this is all about cell growth and cell mutation. And I want to talk about the difference between cancer cells versus normal cells, because there are some very big difference. So the first one is growth. Normal cells stop reproducing or growing when there are enough cells present. Okay. However, cancer cells do not. They continue to grow, which in turn begins the formation of the tumor that I was just talking about. Their communication is also very different. So normal cells react and respond to nearby cell signals, whereas cancer cells do not, okay? And their cellular repair is different as well. So when a cell is damaged, a normal cell either is repaired or it dies off. In contrast, cancer cells are unable to be repaired or go through the apoptosis process, which is controlled cell death. Their cohesion and spreading we talked about is very different. Normal cells secrete substances that help them stick together and keep their primary location in the body contained, whereas cancer cells don't have this, and they have an increasing rate of growth, and the cells will freely travel throughout the body or metastasize when you hear that it's metastasized in a different part of the body. Their appearance is also different. So unlike normal cells, cancer cells vary in cell size and shape from one another. So also the nucleus, or the center of the cancer cells, appear much larger and darker than that of normal cells. Their maturation is different also. Normal cells mature, whereas cancer cells tend to just rapidly grow and divide before cells are fully mature. So this results in immature or undifferentiated cells. Their immune system relationship varies as well. When normal cells are damaged, the immune system recognizes them and removes them. Conversely, cancer cells have the ability to trick the immune system by secreting chemicals that disable immune cells from coming to the scene of the tumor growth, which is why all of a sudden you might have, you have no idea that this is in your body, and then all of a sudden it's there and it's big. Lastly, their functionality is different as well. So normal cells inherently function properly. We've survived as a species for thousands of years, or they function, as they're designed to perform. However, cancer cells may not be considered functional at all. So that's important to know, the difference between how you are normally functioning versus when you have cancer cells within your body. So in order for a normal cell to become cancerous, many changes have to occur within the body. So there's a few factors for particularly that I want to talk about. So the first one is the allowance of rapid growth. So the cells must possess a growth factor that prompts them to grow beyond what is necessary. Okay. They also have to have failure to stop growth. So the proteins that would otherwise instruct the cells to stop growing and die are inhibited, and in turn become abnormal. There also has to be a disregard for other bodily signals. So the cells also have to evade other signals received from other cells in the body. And there has to be a lack of adhesion. So the normal adhesion properties of cells would be lost. So we know that our cells normally stick to each other and cancer cells don't. So, I mean, these are all attributed to gene mutation. It is overall difficult for a normal cell to become cancerous, but these are possible and necessary changes that would have happened within the body in order for it to occur. So I get the question a lot, what actually causes gene mutation? So this can occur for a number of different reasons. There's inherited gene mutations. So some genetic mutations are passed down hereditarily. However, this amounts for a very small percentage of cancers. Some are environmentally provoked gene mutations. So some of the causes of gene mutations include carcinogens, viruses, hormones, obesity, interactivity, chronic inflammation. Did I mention hormones? Very big one. We'll discuss more of these, obviously, throughout the class. But surprisingly, mutations occur quite regularly throughout normal cell growth. The cells, however, have to have the ability to recognize, identify, and repair the mistakes as they show up. So unfortunately, cancer can occur when these mistakes go unnoticed. There is many risk factors that are known to cause cancer, things that you can do to prevent cancer. So one is age. So, overall, as we age, our cells and receptors and everything else are aging right along with us, right? So our risk for cancer increases. Lifestyle choices is a big one. So habits such as smoking, drinking, poor diet, excessive sun exposure, remaining overweight, unsafe sex, and inactivity all play a role in cancer risk. family history. So again, while this is a very small percentage, it's worth noting that a family health history is relevant in terms of cancer risk, and environment. So these include exposure to secondhand smoke, harmful chemicals, and other environmental toxins, which is where you see, if you live in certain areas of the world, you're going to see higher rates of certain cancers or cancer in general. But believe it or not, cancers can be preventable. Okay, so according to a study conducted in 2008 by MD Anderson Cancer Center researchers, 90 to 95% of all cancer cases are due to lifestyle and environmental factors. So evidence concluded that cancer-related deaths were due to the following factors. So 25 to 30% were due to tobacco use, 30 to 35 were due to diet and nutrition, 15 to 20% were due to infections. So the remaining were due to stress, lack of physical activity, environmental pollution, radiation exposure, okay? But 30 to 35% were due to nutrition, okay? And there's many studies are continually being released with one common theme, that cancer is preventable. And I'm going to link up some of these research studies as well. I like to blast it out at you. So how do you lower your risk? Now that, we've established now that the vast majority of cancer is preventable, okay? Smoking, nutrition, environment. So let's talk about what you can do to really arm yourself against this. And again, if you've not had this hit home for you, lucky you. But I know even for myself, this is a big one. And there's lots of things that I do regularly now to keep my cells healthy, right? Maintaining a healthy weight is a big one. Reducing your inflammation. And I did an entire class a few weeks ago on autoimmune disease. And I've done classes on, high inflammatory foods. But the big thing is decreasing the inflammation within your body. And a lot of that comes down to nutrition. Improving your gut health. Again, that class on autoimmune disease will talk a lot about gut health. And again, if you even just type in gut health in the search bar, it'll talk about things that you can do to improve that. You need to address food sensitivities and intolerances, refine your diet, reduce toxic exposure, manage your stress, limit your consumption of alcohol, quit smoking. Let's not even reduce your smoking, just stop. Up your intake of water. So just continuously fueling your body with water. Limit your sun exposure and exercise regularly, and sleep as much as you can. But the big one is the importance of weight management. And according to the National Cancer Institute, obesity is one of the major risk factors for cancer. Although the association with obesity is dependent on the type of cancer, the following mechanisms are thought to generally contribute to cancer growth. So excessive estrogen production within the fat cells, increased level of insulin and insulin-like growth factor. Hormone from the fat cells has the ability to stimulate or inhibit cell growth. Fat cells influence on cell growth regulators, chronic low-level inflammation, altered immune response, and heightened oxidative stress. Those are all big ones. And we know that some of this may sound unfamiliar, but it's important to recognize that in many ways that obesity or an unhealthy amount and distribution of body fat is crazy bad for your body. And the long-term health effects significantly increases your risk for cancer. So that in itself is a big red flag, right? So I want to take a closer look at inflammation. Okay, so even though we've done, lots of classes on inflammation, I want to look a little bit closer into it, because inflammation is a vital immune response. Okay, it's your body's natural way to defend itself against, invaders, heal itself from harm, and repair damage that's happened within your body. So chronic inflammation, however, is not helpful. Okay, so you sprain your ankle, it swells up. That's helpful. But chronic inflammation that is creating pain within the joints, not helpful. So to have inflammation consistently, that means that it impacts the body's ability to recognize and defend it regularly, right? So it's significantly weakened. And when the body remains in high alert mode for a long period of time, the immune system becomes impaired, and this is when lasting damage does occur. So the state of chronic inflammation draws a lot of parallels with many of the chronic diseases we see today, including cancer. So we talked a lot about inflammation when we talked about autoimmune disease as well. So if it's not addressed, more complications occur, such as insulin resistance, autoimmune, tumor progression, and there's a few ways to combat chronic inflammation. Okay, and again, big one: boost your gut health. Okay. Really make sure that you are consuming your probiotics and your prebiotics and your digestive enzymes, increasing your vitamin D and your zinc and your omega-3 fatty acids. These are going to, and really pay attention to the foods that are serving your body. So, I talked about how in the class on autoimmune, how I had food sensitivity testing done, right? And it shows exactly what my body absorbs and what it doesn't. Okay, but know your gut, and if something's off, don't accept a diagnosis of IBS. Okay, because you can alter this, absolutely. Adopt an anti-inflammatory diet. So there's tons of foods that cause inflammation. Dairy, sugar, these are refined sugar, I should say. These are things that are going to cause inflammation within your diet. Take your proper supplements. For me, it's the Lifelong Vitality vitamins from doTERRA. There is a food nutrient supplement, My Omegas, and Cellular Health. Okay, one is completely dedicated, the Alpha CRS, to helping your cells renew, and so that your body isn't constantly having to guess. Another one that I take with my probiotics and my digestive enzymes is one called DDR Prime. So this is the cellular complex from doTERRA that has all the good plants in it, again, to help promote cellular health, right? And again, we have so many cells within our body, and our bodies are so smart, and they will naturally, turn over and kick in where they need to. But we are seeing an increased rise in things like cancer because of those other environmental factors, right? Another thing that I take regularly is frankincense. So frankincense essential oil is, frankincense is a tree, and there's a reason that was a gift to Jesus. It is an unreal plant that, again, you want to make sure it's pure frankincense, which is why I use doTERRA's frankincense. But anything on a cellular level, frankincense, helping with repair. And that's exactly what your body needs in order to support itself. So supplementing properly. Detoxing when necessary. So another oil that I've worked into, I talk about my daily capsules that I take. So in my daily capsule, it initially just started off with On Guard, which is the immunity boosting high antioxidant plant blend, and frankincense. That was my initial capsule. And then I added in other plants like copaiba, turmeric. I've also added in Zendocrine, which is, again, a complex, it's a plant complex that is meant to help with detoxing. And again, just drinking lemon all the time. So I'm constantly, I fill this first thing in the morning. So this is a liter of water, and I will put a couple drops of lemon in here, and I drink it down. And that's how I start my day every single day. And then I make sure I drink at least four of these a day, which is completely flushing out my system. Okay. You need to treat infections accordingly too. But again, there's a place for antibiotics, but it's not our first line of defense, right? Using plants like tea tree, oregano, again, frankincense, really great for helping to treat infections. It's kind of nature's antibiotic, I think is what we'll call it. And then you want to make sure that you're managing your stress in a really healthy way. And you can do this through things like yoga and meditation and fitness and journaling and deep breathing, being outside, doing things that bring joy into your life. Okay. Don't wait until you have that, scary moment in your life for you to do the things daily that bring joy into your life. And they can be simple things like, I like to have fresh cut flowers in my house. There's always fresh cut flowers. I like to have my nails done. It's a simple thing, but I'm like, it brings me joy. I like to always have a cup of tea. Herbal tea is my joy. But do the things that bring you joy, right? And do them with intention, right? So those are the things that are going to help with your stress levels. Now I talked about inflammation, and I've hinted around gut health, but I really want to emphasize the gut health connection. Okay, so the gut microbiome, it's an ecosystem of organisms, including bacteria and yeast and fungi and viruses, and all of these things are throughout the digestive tract. So your digestive tract is from entry to exit. Okay, so it's not just your stomach, which a lot of people think of, but it's far beyond just your digestive health. The immune system, among other organ systems, are closely related to your gut health. So because of this close association between our microbiome and our immune system, research suggests that the gut has a very significant role in determining your cancer risk. So we know that 80% of our immune system is located within the gut, okay? Again, go back to the class on autoimmune disease, and we talk all about that. But there's a few of the most common, enemies to gut health, okay? So things that you want to make sure that you're working out of your daily routine if you're really trying to arm yourself against cancer. Your standard American diet. There's a reason it's called the SAD diet. You want to be eating whole foods. If it comes in a package or from a fast food restaurant, this is not something that is fueling your body, right? Whole foods are your fruits and your vegetables, and things that grow in the ground, okay? You also want to avoid excessive use of prescription medications. So obviously, every time you take something, it's killing the bad stuff within your body, but it's also killing the good stuff too, right? So if you are consistently using prescription medications, then, look at other ways. Like that you can, the whole point of taking a more natural approach is looking at different ways that you can counteract things like, blood pressure or and again, so much of that even is linked to things like obesity, right? Our standard American diet is why we have such high rates of obesity. Inadequate digestive enzyme activity. So taking a digestive enzyme. So one that I take regularly is Terrazyme through doTERRA. So these are digestive enzymes that help you to break down your food, digest your food, as well as absorb it into the body. So I take it at every meal now, and that's been a game changer for me. Reducing your toxic exposure. So there's certain things that you don't have control over, but there's certain things that you do have control over, right? You bring it into your house. You just bought it. You have control over what comes in your house, right? And recognizing what serves your body and what's not serving your body. Make sure that you don't have infections that are untreated, right? Because these are just places where your body's put to work, right? Chronic stress. Again, stress leads to disease, and we know this. There's tons of research on it. And a big thing, all of those things come down to, and this is why the foundation of that pyramid that I always talk about is nutrition, okay? What we eat, as well as what we don't eat, can either fuel or discourage the development of cancer. So research has concluded that there is solid evidence that certain dietary habits have a sizable impact on cancer risk. So for example, the encouraged cancer prevention diet is plant-based. Okay, it provides essential minerals, vitamins, antioxidants, phytonutrients, and these include, non-starchy vegetables such as broccoli and spinach and beans. Okay, the greener, the better. Whole fruits, fruits and vegetables containing vitamin C, such as oranges, berries, peas, bell peppers, dark leafy greens, vegetables rich in lycopene, these are things like tomatoes and guava and watermelon, and other vegetables such as carrots, Brussels sprouts, and squash. Okay, unprocessed grains. Unprocessed. When you hear people having like a gluten intolerance, these are processed grains. Okay, so you want unprocessed grains, healthy oils such as olive oil and coconut oil when you're cooking. Conversely, these foods heighten the risk of cancer and should be avoided as much as possible. So you want to avoid high-calorie processed foods, that SAD diet, okay? Added sugars, excess salt, red meat, all of these things will increase. Other things that will increase is alcohol. So based on extensive research, there's a strong scientific evidence connecting drinking alcohol with several types of cancers. So according to the National Toxicology Program, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, alcohol is clearly listed as a known human carcinogen. So the research indicates that the more someone drinks on a regular basis, the higher risk they have of developing cancer. It's once believed that limited alcohol consumption was an appropriate part of cancer prevention plan. However, emerging studies have concluded that even minimal consumption, even within, national guidelines, still raises your risk of cancer. So, therefore, just skip it all out, right? Next, and I've already mentioned this one, it's the big one, smoking. Okay, so there's no safe level of tobacco use. Okay, even vaping or whatever's cool when you're watching this, tobacco use is the leading cause of cancer as well as death from cancer. So the chemical within tobacco products contains chemicals that directly damage DNA, which is unsurprisingly a main contributor to cancer development. So again, I can link up some information on you, but if you go to cancer.gov, there's a ton of information about tobacco use. Next, you want to prevent cancer? Get moving. Get moving. A growing body of research has supported the importance of physical activity in cancer prevention. So some of the benefits of exercising for specifically reducing the risk of cancer include the fact that moving helps to regulate your blood levels, the blood levels of hormones, reducing exposure to dietary carcinogens by accelerating your metabolism, and prevention of body fat accumulation. So we already mentioned how when fat is accumulating in large portions in certain parts of your body, this is an increased risk for cancer. But you also need to get that blood moving and accelerate your metabolism, which naturally happens when you're moving, okay? It's recommended to adopt at least 30 minutes of exercise most days of the week. This can be done in increments or all at once. The most important advice I can give you for adopting a fitness routine is just you do you and make it fun, okay? Do what you love, but just get moving every single day. It must be something you're going to enjoy, or else you're not going to do it. Period. But I want you to really think about, how can I get moving for 30 minutes a day? Okay, so is that a walk after supper? Is that joining a gym? Is that a boot camp? Is that yoga? Is that whatever, right? Once you get moving, you will naturally start feeling better. Once you work proper nutrition, you will naturally start feeling better. And both of those things will lead to a better sleep, which is also a big proponent of cancer prevention. So quality sleep is essential to a proper immune function and healing and mental health. So ensuring that you have a scheduled 7 to 8 hours of sound sleep every night reduces your risk of cancer. Guaranteed. So we're told our whole lives how important it is to get a proper sleep for our health. But science is now too on the slumber side, okay? So studies have been addressing the relationship of insufficient sleep habits and some of the top cancers in North America. So yes, still right now, 1 in every 10 people experience sleep disturbances regularly, okay? So but it's the things that we're doing throughout the day. It's our stress levels, it's our nutrition, it's our lack of movement, it's our toxic load that is giving us sleep disturbances, okay? So this is why, I'm a huge advocate of plant-based medicine, but it's not just about that. It's about the entire lifestyle, okay? And so much of it you only have control over, right? So the most shocking part of all of this is that some of these sleep issues can actually be avoided, right? So some strategies to improve your sleep: create a sleep schedule and stick to it, right? So even, my husband's a shift worker, and fortunate for him, it's only 2 out of every 8 days that he has to work midnights, but it's still it's making sure that during that 48 hours that he's his sleep cycle's reversed, that he's doing all those other things, that he's still making sure he's working out and eating healthy and supplementing properly, and doing all those other things to really compensate for that, right? But for most of us, creating a sleep schedule and sticking to it. And I know some of you are young moms and you're saying, okay, easier said than done. I've been there, but the sleep schedule you're in right now is temporary. It really is. I mean, your kids can't not sleep forever, right? And then, even if they go 18 years, they're moving out anyways, right? You want to limit your screen time before bed. Even if it's, I hear a lot of people say, well, I use my phone as my alarm. Well, you can still stick it on the other side of the room, right? Reduce your caffeine and sugar intake. Adopt a natural bedtime and nighttime routine, right? So much research is actually saying that you need to start shutting your body down hours before you're actually going to bed. So how are you shutting your body down? In our home, it looks like me diffusing lavender starting at like 5 o'clock at night. And then, while we're having our enjoying our night together, we're breathing in those aromatic compounds. When my kids go to have a bath, I've got lavender in their bath with the Epsom salts. Again, kind of a double whammy since lavender is so good for your skin too, but really helping to shut the body down. Lights are low, music is low. All the energy things that are going on in our house during the day are not happening at night, right? But creating that ritual, and really knowing what essential oils you need to support you. Again, lavender is the number one, but there's a lot of other really good, whether it's blends of essential oils or think of your tree oils, right? So if it comes from a tree, just like the roots of a tree, it's very grounding, right? So things like vetiver, cedarwood, frankincense. These are all, there's a blend called Serenity, which is actually doTERRA's calming blend. That's what I love in my diffuser at night. But, try them. Try and figure out which one works for you, right? Some people just need to diffuse it. Some people need to diffuse it and put it on the bottom of their feet. Some people need to diffuse it, put it on the bottom of their feet, and wear their aromatherapy bracelets to bed. Whatever works for you. Drink herbal tea, right? So not caffeinated, that's the thing. Just like your essential oils can be contaminated, teas can too. There's good quality teas and there's crap, right? So get a really good quality herbal tea. Try reading before bed. And then supplement with even things like melatonin or magnesium, right? These things will help support sleep as well. But getting a solid sleep is unreal. Next thing you need to do, and you'll be able to do this a lot better once you've had a really good sleep, is manage stress. So the prevention of cancer is truly, it's a holistic process, okay? It's not a one-stop shop, one size fits all, right? It's holistic. It's mind, body, spirit. And while it's incredibly important to eat nutritious food and drop unhealthy habits, adopt an exercise routine, and get adequate sleep, none of this would be effective without proper stress management. Okay, so stress is the primary driver for chronic inflammation within the body, which then turns into disease. Okay, so some ways to relieve stress: meditation, yoga, gardening, go for a walk, spend some time with your loved ones, listen to calming music, get a massage, read a good book, cook a yummy meal, whatever, right? But stress management looks like something that brings you joy, right? And I see people all the time that work, and then, every 6 weeks or so, they take a week off for vacation. And it's like, but you just busted your ass for 6 weeks and totally stressed yourself out so you could take 1 week of vacation. Wouldn't it be nice if every single day, it doesn't have to be for long periods of time, you did something for you, right? And even I teach my kids this too. There's nothing selfish about caring for yourself first. Nothing selfish. And I used to think there was, right? And then you're always told when you have kids, well, it's not about you anymore. Well, it's not about me, but it's about me being the highest version of myself so that I can raise them and show up for them the way I want to, right? So what do you do for you every day? Every day. Right? And it might be something for 5 minutes. It might be journaling. It might be a 5-minute meditation. I have a great app that I use to make sure I meditate. I forget what it's called right now. Simple Habit is or there's an app called Calm. Okay. I love those ones. The Simple Habit, it's a free app and it's 5-minute meditations. But it's such a good way. I do one first thing in the morning and right before I go to bed. And it has been a game changer. So, but again, what are you doing for you that brings you joy? This is what's going to be a stress reliever for you, and do it daily. I I'm really curious about your comments. What are you guys doing to up level your health? What are you doing and why? And I know just in teaching people for years now, cancer is a big one on what has kind of prompted you to take a more natural approach, right? And I want you to know why you're interested in this, and I want you to let it lead you. Okay, I want you to let it guide you to do those things that seem hard, right? So, I mean, reducing your toxic load. If you made over one thing in your house a week for a year, there's 52 things in a year, right? If nutrition is your thing, if you typically eat out 5 nights a week, maybe you only eat out 2 nights a week, right? If when it comes to movement, don't jump into a 60-minute boot camp when you haven't done anything, right? Jump into something that makes sense for you and your schedule, right? But just work in 30 minutes a day, right? Get your blood flowing, and again, if you can work yourself up into a sweat, even better, right? It will do unreal things for your body. And then really paying attention to what you're surrounding yourself with, and that's what you're consuming, and that's through your body, through what you're eating, but that's also with your mind. What are you watching on TV? What are you reading right now? What are you listening to? And how is it having an impact on you emotionally, right? And then spiritually, how are you up leveling yourself there, and really coming to terms with who you are spiritually, right? And who you want to be, and where you want to go. So I really I want to thank you guys for joining me today. I know this was a heavy topic, but I hope you got some little tidbits. And if you're wanting any of the resources that I used to gather the information for this class, please don't hesitate to reach out, and I would be happy to pass that along to you. But I hope that you got some good tidbits out of this class. And I want to thank you so much for joining me. Happy Monday. See ya.